Rabbi Cohen used to say it's the lackers that you have trouble with. Last people, they don't sit well, they're the ones you remember. That's a good idea.
That's true. That's actually very true.
But is the deal going down or is it not going down?
The hostage deal?
I just heard
Every 3 minutes I hear different things.
Netanyahu is putting out has put a notice out to say that he's called for the Security Council to meet today, Friday, to ratify it. And then 2 days after that, it should start flying. No, it's the message I got was the security committee. Yeah.
So it's all signed. It's all signed and it's supposed to, the Knesset has to approve it. And they're meeting on Sunday to approve it. So the earliest that the hostages would come home would be Monday.
When's the inauguration? On Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah, Monday's Trump inauguration.
Can you imagine what those families are going through?
I can't imagine.
They don't even know who, right? They don't know the names yet of anyone?
You know, who's coming back?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think so. They know they have the names of everybody, but they don't know which people. It said women, children.
And the elderly.
Yeah, the elderly, but I mean, trust that. So.
All right, let's go on. Let's learn in their merit.
Before we go to like another shoulder, we're at the beginning of the first, the last one that we just did, there was a simulation that maybe it's not halakhically proper to get involved with lottery. It almost like,
Yes.
So I wanted to ask about that just because there's so many, I get so many different things from, hospitals, Jewish, so many different lotteries that people hold. And so I just wanted to know what the halachic issues were related to, like, buying one of those tickets or buying a lottery ticket or buying any kind of.
It's a great question. It's a great question. We'll start, you know what? Let me open up the Abia Omer. We'll just start it and you'll see what the issue is. It's a form of gambling, right? It's a form of gambling. So that's what makes it questionable. The fact that all charities do it does not de facto make it completely acceptable, because as we've seen before, a lot of times charities will do things that are questionable in order to make money. We're learning in our Smichas Chaver program that you're not supposed to offer an advance price that's lower than the regular price. Like, for example, let's say you're selling widgets, but the widgets don't go on sale until March of 25. But you say, if you buy your widgets in January, you get a 10% discount on the widgets. So what are you doing? You're essentially advancing the company that makes widgets less money, and you're getting back a value that's more than what you invested, because they need to be liquid. They need capital in order to be able to bring their product to market. That's called a loan with ribis. And yet there was recently a company that was advertising here locally that is selling shmura matzah from Ukraine. And they say, if you order by Hanukkah, you will be able to pay 10% or 20% less than the regular price for this matzah. That's halachically problematic, unless they made a heter iska or they were able to work around the problem of ribis. So it's important to know that just because a charity does it and it's ubiquitous doesn't automatically make it right.
And
so
you buying it that way, you're also over it too,
Yeah,
interest works both ways,
interest,
right? So
interest.
people get in trouble for doing it.
Right, the prohibition works both ways.
So, Rabbi, in the case of gambling, my understanding of the issue of being an item, if you gamble, is if you make a living from the gambling, not if you just go and have a flutter on the horse.
right? That is correct.
You like a flutter?
I like it. Flutter every now and then.
Well, I would also say that when it comes to all these lotteries, really for this stuff, I would say 90%, you're doing it because you're helping the mice raise money. You're not doing it because you're gonna win. You
It's a
know,
charity. You're doing it as
you're doing
charity.
it because you're giving stock up.
So does that mean that if you win, you're going to give it back?
That's what it is.
That's a good question, because if you do, let's say you win the house, right?
But that's a
And you
gift
convert it to
because-
money, what are you gonna do?
Is it?
So it is all those lotteries for the houses. Is that the same thing? That people put in to buy and to get the house much cheaper.
Oh, I don't know.
So is it making a living out of gambling, or is it just gambling? I like it.
Well, okay, so let's see. So you asked a really good question, Joby, so I'm going to share with you the screen so that we can all, the people in TV land can see it also. Let's see. The Mishnah Sanhedrin Shaninu. Okay, so first of all, Rav Ovadia writes, Nishalti, I was asked the following question. Ha'im mutar min hadin liyishtatef b'kniyat kartisei hagrala shel mif'al hapayas. Is it permitted to join together in or to participate in purchasing lottery cards of the mif'al hapayas, which is the company that's in charge of lotteries? Okay. The Mishnah Sanhedrin Shaninu, Elu hapsulim le'edus. The Mishnah Sanhedrin says the following are puzzle for to be edim. Hamesachek bekuvia, the hamalva beribis, umachfri chayonim, the sochare shavias. So it lists 4 different kinds of people. The first one is called mesachek bekuvia. Okay, and what is a mesachek bekuvia? The Gemara mesachek bekuvia maika of it. What is he doing wrong? Amarami bar chama mishum dahava asmachta be'asmachta lo kanya. The answer is that he's doing something which is called reliance. Now, and reliance does not affect the Kenyan. Now, what does that mean? Rashi explains, Hainu davar she'eno nosein lo midaito, elasomech al davar she'eno. In other words, when he puts down money, he has unrealistic expectations of getting that money back. And because of that, he's really not putting the money on the table with a full heart. When I put money in the pot in the poker game, my expectation is that I'm going to get money back. And so I'm not relinquishing it with a full, complete heart. Because he thinks that he's going to win. And sometimes he is defeated and he loses the pot. And because the other guys who put their money in the pot end up losing, and sometimes he wins, he's got ill-gotten gains in his pocket, which is it's a semblance. It's a semblance of stolen money. V'hatorah amra al tashas rasha aid. And the Torah says you may not allow a wicked person, let's say a thief, to be an aid. So a gambler is, in a sense, a form of a thief, because he wins money at the poker table or at with the dice table, because Masachik Bekuvia is playing craps, right, with an unfair sense of reliance. Rav Sheshus Amar Kolki Haigavna Lavasmachtahi Elalafi Shein is Oskin Biyeshuva Shel Olam. Rav Sheshus gives a second reason why such a person is not fit to be a witness. It's not that he's a thief, but he's not engaging in an appropriate way of being a contributing worker in the world. In other words, and Rashi explains that Rav Sheshus lo chashiv asmachta ela kagonim over v'lo avid ashalim b'meitva b'bava mitziach kagon hamashlev shtaro, etc., etc. In other words, according to Rav Sheshus, it's not really gezela, But it's just that that he holds that this person is a non-productive member of society. And a non-productive member of society, just like a guy who's 40 years old and living in his parents' basement and doesn't have a job and is smoking weed all day, right? That kind of person is a non-productive member of society, and that's why he's not fit to be a witness. My beinayu, what's the difference between the two of them? Ika beinayu de gomar umnusa achrisi. That if he has another occupation, so then according to the second reason, he's kosher, and according to the first reason, he's not kosher. Okay, and then he goes through the rest of the Gemara. Uparach adarami bar chama mimasnisin didnan Amar Rabbi Yehuda emasai bizman she'ein lahen umnus elahu aval yesh lahem umnus shalohu kesherim. So the Gemara asks, well, according to Rami bar Chama, who was the first opinion that it's like a form of theft, why then does Rabbi Yehuda say that if a person who's a gambler has another occupation, he's kosher? So according to you, Rami bar Chama, it shouldn't make a difference whether he has an other occupation or not. V'chitema pligi rabbanan alei de Rabbi Yehuda v'hamar Rabbi Shua ben Levi kol makom shama Rabbi Yehuda emasai obamed var mamur mein lefarish. That Rabbi Yehuda is not a different opinion. He's explaining the opinion of the Chachamim. So it seems like everyone agrees that as long as he has another occupation, he's kosher. V'Rabbi Yochanan Amar emasai lefaresh uvamelach lo kudekuliyalma miha emasai lefareshu gaver karamis Rami bar Chama savar emasai nami lachalok va'ana darmi karabanan adkan. Bottom line is that Rami bar Chama will tell you that I don't agree with that opinion that Rabbi Yehuda is always coming to explain the Rabbanan. I hold that he's a separate opinion. So according to Rami bar Chama, it's a machlokis between Tanoim in the Mishnah as to what the reason why a gambler is pasol le'edus. Rami bar Chama, hold that it's because of theft, and like the Chachamim, and Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's because he's not a productive member of society. Now, he then quotes, well, I'm sure it's going to be a very lengthy tshuva because everything that Rav Ovadia did was very lengthy. In all of his writing, he wrote very lengthily.
Well, you're a good bet, Rabbi.
Yeah.
All sources, what is he writing?
Yeah. So let's see, what does he write over here? Okay, Vatabeit Eini Laharav Hagon Rav Ovadia Hadaya B'shut Yaskil Avdi Cheleches. He says, I noticed that a great rabbi before me also dealt with this shaila in the tshuva Yaskil Avdi. Shenishal Benidon Didan Ha'imutar Liknot Kartis Agrala Shel Mifal HaPayis. Is it permitted to buy lottery tickets from the national lottery? V'heishiv she'ein lesar mitam isur schok bekuvia. His argument was that there's no reason to call it theft because, the shiny hasam shahasikum misuyam sha'alav sichaku hu mamono haprati shal haminutzach umuchrach hu latet laminatzeach masha katzvu beineya. He says, in a regular gambling endeavor, like when people are sitting around the table, everyone agrees to a fixed amount, and everyone puts down their amount. And if he loses, he's obligated to relinquish what he bet. And sometimes the pot becomes so high that he could get wiped out in one card, in one round of poker, in one hand of poker. And that's the reason why he's not really relinquishing it with a full heart. The chash of shapir asmachta, and therefore there's a false sense of reliance. Where the rabbi said, because it's a false reliance, there's a problem of gezel. He says in a lottery, they gather in huge amounts of money from a large number of people who participate in the lottery. So when you win the lottery, it's not like, I got your money, right? That's not the attitude that people have. Like in a poker game, if there's 5 of us around the table and I win the hand, I beat everybody around the table. Here, it's not that the concept of winning a lottery is not that I beat a million other people out of their money. Yeah, right. Ela inyan shel mazel, and we look at it rather as a mazel factor. V'chamosha nohagim lahagril al sefer Torah o al megillah b'tik shel kesef echayotze bo. And he says, and this was a common occurrence even from many years back, that they would auction off a sefer Torah, or not auction, they would make a lottery that we want to raise money to purchase a Torah for the shul.
I think if you go to Pop, they auction off the Leah's.
No, but look at the honesty.
No, they auction off.
Or a Megillah, we're doing a lottery that the winner gets a Megillah with a silver case. The emes shemasim b'chol yom sheosim hagrala sefer Torah ve'ein potze peh u'mitzat seif. And these lotteries are so routine. You win a sefer Torah, no one says a word, no one protests. V'chamoshe kosav b'birkei Yosef b'kuntrasachram b'shem harav Givat Pinchas shekol shenimkar derech kavod al yedei goral v'yesh hana'a laha'aloso b'damim mutar. And so he gives another argument here. He says anything that is being lotteried off, which creates kavod. In other words, I consider it an honor to purchase a lottery ticket because I have a chance of winning a Sefer Torah or a Megillah in a silver case, and then it's mutter. He says, because who wouldn't want to participate in the holy endeavor of supporting the organization? Italia, and that's what in all cities in Italy, Jewish communities in Italy would do this regularly. Verabani Italia asumase ba'atzmam, harei shafilu sefer Torah mutar lemochro begoral, mipnei sheyesh bo hana lahaloso b'damim. So he says, this is the other factor. A person gets, so the first factor that he argued is that no one really, when they win the lottery, is thinking that I took the other people's money. That's number one. Number two is that it's an honor to buy a lottery ticket for this particular charity. So people are getting an instant hana'ah just by buying a lottery ticket, even if they don't win, they're still getting benefit, which is therefore there's no thievery involved. She'ba'alei haSefer Torah marvichim damim al yedei hamishtatvim b'hagrala ve'ein kan inyan shel gezel kamo b'din schok b'kuvia, and therefore there's no aspect of thievery as there is with gambling. Shesham haminutzach mafsidamim v'shayich bo asmachta v'gezel ad kan tochem devarav, and because in that case, the person who loses did not really wish to relinquish the money. But here, when you, like Moshe was arguing, when you buy a lottery ticket for a charity, you're happy to support the charity. It's considered as a chus to support the charity, and therefore, and he doesn't even mention the tax. What is it? The tax benefit. But anyway, v'nelam me'eno habedolach mashakasav hagriach b'shut rav pe'ilam chelik beis hanal. He says, however, he neglected the Yaskil Avdi, neglected to see what the Ben Ish Chai writes in his Rav Pe'ilim. Sheyesh chiluk ben hagrala al chayfetz o al sefer Torah. He said explicitly that there is a difference between a lottery where the prize is a sefer Torah versus other things. Shahazoche eno notel min hamos shel hamishatvim b'hagrala ela et hachayfetz o sefer Torah Shadayin Shayach Liba Olav. He says, when there's a lottery where the winnings are cash, that's considered to be taking other people's money. But when the winnings are a prize that was donated by a donor, he feels that that's the difference. The Ben Ish Chai says, he says, because you're getting it directly from the donor of the Sefer Torah to the charity. And the person who's donating the Sefer Torah is willingly relinquishing it to the charity, or sometimes the charity will buy a Sefer Torah from a sofer, and then they'll use that as the bait to get people to buy lottery tickets. So there's no one who's relinquishing the prize reluctantly.
Yeah.
In other words,
Tonight and stuff
right,
like
right.
that.
The prize that's being given is a prize that's being given with a complete heart. The problem with gambling with cash is that if the prize is the cash that people expended to buy the lottery ticket, so then it was money that was given reluctantly. He says, when people buy a lottery ticket, all of the other people who lost have relinquished their own hard-earned cash. And that's what the Rav Pe'ilim says. He says, when you win the lottery and it's a cash prize, you end up taking the cash, or some of the cash at least, from the people who lost.
Like a 50-50 draw.
So, all right, I'm not sure. But yeah, but this is the distinction that Rav Ovadia is making based on the Rav Pe'ilim. There's a difference when the lottery is on a prize like a car or a trip to Israel or a Sefer Torah,
Right.
versus a cash prize. V'imkein ein shum raya mehamasim shebechol yom shosim hagral al Sefer Torah chayfetz acher l'nidon hagral shel mefal hapais. And therefore you can't bring proof from the lotteries that are done where the prize is a Sefer Torah to the issue of playing the lotto. Because there you're taking money that belongs to other people who bought lotto tickets. Okay.
So what I mean, we mentioned before about the number of participants. So if the number of participants is so large, like a lotto, where the ticket is I'm going to say not a significant amount of money, from $6 upwards, and people spend $6 on a cup of coffee. So how much reliance are you having on your $6 to sustain your life?
So that was the argument of Yaskil Avdi, but the Rav Pe'ilim does not agree with that. He says that the reason why it's okay to do a lottery on a prize is because it's clearly the prize itself was acquired through someone who did not anticipate having to get it back. So that's his argument. So Umasha Kosovod Harav Yaskil Avdi Sham Va'od Hare Afilu Bekuvia Mufursh B'divrei Harama Ba'aga She'ein Ze Ela Be'ein Lo Umnas Elahu Avol Im Yesh Lo Umnas Eino Pasul. What about Doug's question? This is often quoted. The Rama says that if you have another occupation other than gambling, then it's for sure okay. Uvinidon Didan Hareu Rak Mishtatev B'Payas V'Sulo. And here, you're just participating in a lottery, but that's on your way home or your way to work. So you're working, you're a contributing member of society. So b'mechilas kvod taraso lo shmei matya, sha'amnam harambam umarna shulchan aruch kosuf behedya, v'hu she'ein lo umnas elohu, ach zehu rak le'inyan lepos lo le'edus. So he says, okay, I agree. He says, I ask mechila for disagreeing with the Yaskil Avdi, but I have to say that he's not accurate. The Rama is not saying that it is permitted for you to play the lotto as long as you have another occupation. He is simply saying that you're not pasul le'edus if you play the lotto and you have another occupation. Avol le'inyan iser gezel midivreim mitam asmachta, Gam kishiyesh lo umnus acheres isura miyaika uchimufurish b'divrehim. But there's still a rabbinic prohibition of gezel. Okay, The harei afilu lahaposkim halacha kerav sheishis techol ki hagavnu lavasmachti kasav harivashanal shal kopanim osakenu meshukatz umetuav umechur adavar. He says, and even if you're going to paskin like Rav Sheshis, which is what a lot of poskim do, which is that it's only usser when you're mamish usser, when you have no other occupation because you're a non-contributing member to society. So even so, the Rivash writes that anyone who gambles is a meshukatz and a metuav. What's a meshukatz? Disgusting. Metuav, abominably despised. Umechur hadavar, and it is really quite an ugly thing to do. Ki rabim chalolim hipil va'atzumim al harugav, because many people, literally, I'm not sure if he means this, ki rabim chalolim hipil, because you cause a lot of deaths. Yeah, that's what he says. I'm not sure exactly what this is, some kind of exaggerative comment. In other words, people can really, if you gamble habitually,
lose everything and kill yourself.
Or you can cause other people to lose their life if they lose everything. V'gam lemifal hapayas sheyesh rabim shekonim kartisim rabim kimat b'chol demei maskurtam. And he says, and the other problem is you have people who are addicted to gambling, and so when it comes to the lotto, some people will spend most of their paycheck on lotto tickets. Thinking that maybe one of the numbers will hit. And then eventually they leave losing a tooth or an eye. In other words, it's a metaphor, and they end up losing all of their money. He says, and I'll grant you that the Ramah allows you to be lenient, and he says that you're allowed to play dice, you're allowed to gamble, and he disagrees with the Shulchan Aruch. Anan b'didan kibalnu aleinu haros maron bein lahakel bein lahachmir. But we Sephardim have accepted upon ourselves the rulings of the Rav Yosef Cairo, the Mechaber, whether he's more machmir or whether he's more mekel. U'chemoshe karu alav luchu el Yosef asher yomar lachem. And as it says in one of the Chuvas Svarim, the quote, Paro said to the Egyptians, L'chu el Yosef, go to Yosef, whatever he tells you, you should do, go to the Beit Yosef, whatever he tells you, you should do. That's it's like a play on words, okay.
So people who professionally gamble, they're professional, and that's their parnasa.
Yeah.
I know people who business that I met.
Really?
Oh, yeah, and some of them made serious money.
Yeah.
Well, the question now is,
Is that if it's a parnosa and they're not addicted, that's just what they do.
well, what about somebody who makes their living on the futures market? Is that gambling?
Sure.
That-
By
they're on the
hedge
lines,
fund, hedging?
Pension fund, I mean, all these financial things, is that gambling?
The people who make money on gambling, usually it's on poker,
Yes,
because
it's always poker tournaments.
poker is a game of skill. At the end of the day, there's an aspect of skill involved with poker.
So you're saying it's okay?
And
Oh,
so-
Rabbi said poker tournaments.
Well, I know somebody
No.
who gets paid for playing bridge.
yeah, no, so the point is that if a person is a professional poker player, professional bridge player, professional chess player, that's certainly permitted. But these are, let's say, sports. It's a form of a sport. And I think that you can more easily justify that. Something that's purely a game of chance, like dice. Could you argue that the craps requires skill? Like the people who are more skilled win more at the craps table? I don't know.
It's all luck. Craps is all luck.
Yeah.
We're discussing now, literally, the idea of a cards. or
Blackjack is more skill.
But I'm thinking more along, you go, as you said, on the way to work, you shop, you pick up a ticket, for $2.
Right.
Is that anything involved with what you're saying here?
Yes, it is.
Because you're dealing with millions of people, you're
Yes.
happy to give your
Right.
money. Everybody who's buying that $2 is happy to give their money.
Well, they also,
Nobody's people are just happy to like try to win whatever it may be that's on the thing.
Right, right. So Rav Ovadia is saying, according to the strict letter of the law for Sfaradim, it should not be okay. However, the Ramah says that Ashkenazim generally are lenient and we allow it. So he then says, then
Is
is
it possible to aid us, according to Rabbajan, according to Ramah, you wouldn't be possible to aid
no,
us?
not necessarily pasul le'edus. He's willing to concede that you may not be pasul le'edus, but it's still mechuar u'metuav and all of those other things. All
Yeah, you're a low life.
Yeah.
Basically.
right, we'll have to hold it here for today. Have a good Shabbos. I hope you win the lotto.
Yeah.
Take care.